Hey, okay, on Thursday, I had intended to do a live stream of the class, and it's for everybody, and it was, how to generate more leads than you can handle. And operator error, I never set up the recording for the class, so you guys that were interested in live streaming wasn't able to, and so I said I would actually be sharing this with you guys today. So I'm going to share a couple of different things. You may see a few different live interactions. Hey Jenny. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about, and for you guys that have been through Bold, you understand this, and yet we're going to delve into it. So the first thing we have is we know that real estate is a cyclical business, right? It's 90 days. Now, real estate agents, your business does this if we're not careful. And the reason is, well, how come it does that? So this is what I want you to be aware of, okay? So there are 5 phases of real estate, right? And so the foundation is first, okay? So foundation, this is your growth plan. This is affirmations to keep your mindset positive. This is your pipeline tool. This is your business plan. So these are the things that we're talking about. Now, this week we'll be meeting at 1 o'clock here in the office. I know we've been calling it the CGI call, yet we're going to actually take it from this to what we're going to actually be exploring or learning in our business. Because how do we create more leads than we can handle? A lot of times we make this extremely difficult, and it's really not. So we have the foundation, and then that leads into concentration. Now, concentration lasts a minimum of 90 days. Concentration is just doing it. Now, this is the interesting piece, is we want, in our business, we want 3 to 5 places that our business comes from. Basically, 3 to 5 strategies to implement in our business. And what happens is, let's say we start in concentration. We say, okay, I'm going to focus on my database. And so you're focused on your database, you're putting people in your database, and you're calling your database, and you're doing that type of thing. And then you look over and you see that, wow, Sunny over there, they're focused on open houses and they're crushing it. And I'm not having the goals I'm not having the results that I desire to have. And so what happens is you stop working on your database and you go over and you start working on open houses. Now, this is the challenge, is what you've just done is you've just reset your concentration, right? We said it lasts a minimum of 90 days. So what we actually want to do is we want to do whatever we're doing for 90 days, because your effort is not going to equal your results during that 90 days. Now, it's not to say you won't have any results. It is just your effort is not going to equal your results. So concentration, 90 days. So if it's going to be on, if you want to build your business on your database, stay in that database for 90 days. That is your one thing. Now, we know that evaluated experience matters. So that doesn't mean that you keep doing it without any results, without asking any questions. No, every week, what did I say? Who did I say it to? What should I adjust? What should I do differently in order to have the results that I desire, okay? That's what these are things that we're going to be talking about. Are you plugged in? Hey, Paul. Welcome. Okay, so then the next piece is in concentration. Now, like I said, concentration is doing it over and over and over. And so we're going to talk about what are the strategies that you have in your business. Do you have 3 to 5 places that you get your business? Not 10, not 20, not 2. 3 to 5 places that you're going to get do your business. And so we're going to talk about it in just a bit. And this is some of the stuff that we covered on the Thursday night class. Okay, so now from concentration, this is where we get momentum. Now, the cool part about momentum, this is where real estate is fun. Wow. People are calling me. I'm taking listings. I'm going on appointments. Woohoo. Love momentum. Now, this is the thing that you have to be aware of in momentum. When we get busy, when we're doing business, what's typically the first thing that we stop doing? The thing that got us to momentum. And so then it resets our whole cycle over again. So we were calling, we were touching people, we were doing all this stuff in concentration. Now they started responding to us. This is where, right, our results are actually equaling our efforts. So it's fun and we're super excited. And then we quit doing this, and guess what happens? Now we have to reset, and we have to do this for another 90 days for their results to equal, right? For our results to equal our effort. So be aware of how this works. Now, we're into momentum. Now, this is the thing we said, concentration lasts a minimum of 90 days. Momentum, when we hit momentum, we want to get to stabilization as fast as possible. Now, we want to get to stabilization as fast as possible because if we don't get to stabilization, we cannot maintain this. Now, the cool part, we have a strong foundation in place. It makes it easier for us to go from momentum to stabilization. Now, what is stabilization? That is when you have systems and accountability in your business. Now, one of the things that I heard from Bob, and it just made my heart so happy on Friday, when they take listings, they have one day a week that the listings go into the system. If you don't have the stuff to them, if your house isn't ready, well then, hey, it's the next week before your listing goes in the system. Now, some of you guys might go, wait a minute, why would we want to wait? Remember, we said your business has to have systems in it. Well, if your business doesn't have systems in it, what's going to happen is some of your clients are going to be happier than others because you're going to be forcing it and you're going to forget to do something because you didn't follow your checklist, because you didn't have a plan, right? So you want to make sure that stabilization, and then we won't talk about this today except to say that mastery takes 10,000 hours. So 10,000 hours to mastery. Hey, Harrison, I was just talking about you. So mastery takes 10,000 hours. So we want to understand this is a lifelong pursuit. Now, this is the interesting thing. There's a TED Talk. How many hours does it take for you to learn how to do something? Only about 8. Now, the difference is, and this is what I'm guilty of, we're all guilty of this sometimes, is, hey, Harrison, so we're guilty of this sometimes is we say things like, well, I already know how to do that. Well, yeah, do you know how to do it, or are you a master of it? So I want you to think of it this way. So I took some guitar lessons, and I probably took about 8 hours of guitar lessons because I took them about 8 weeks. And every week I would go in, and he would teach me 30 minutes. He'd teach me how to do something. I play guitar like this. I'm looking at it. I'm thump, 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 ding, ding, like that's what 8 hours looks like. So when you say, I've written 8 hours worth of contracts, you're not a master yet. You are, ding, 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 right? A master is somebody that's been doing it for 10,000 hours on purpose, and there's not a better way to do it, right? So are you looking at your business and going, okay, I know how to do it versus I'm a master at it, okay? So that's some of the things that we covered on Thursday night. I am going to invite you guys, if you're looking to have more leads than you can handle, this is if you're in the PC program, this is if you are in the this is if you are in the PC program. This is if you are in the, I don't care if you're in the top 20%. If you don't have enough leads, be here Monday at 1 o'clock and we're going to start looking at that because everybody's is different. Now, this is the last thing. This is the other piece that we covered on Thursday night. And we looked at where are the sources of our business. So if you haven't already, go to page 138 of the MREA, Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Go to page 138. There is a list of all of these places that you can find to actually get business from. And I mean lots, whether you're interested in marketing or prospecting, right? Now, typically what we say is prospecting-based, marketing enhanced. That way you can control your cost, right? We also believe in leading with revenue, right? So, page 138 of the MREA, it's going to give you some great information on actively doing that, right? On how do you find your 5 sources of business. Now, for some of you guys, what we're going to look at Monday at 1 o'clock is where are you getting your business and where would you like to get your business? What are your 3 to 5 sources of business? Now, remember we talked about the concentration. So, I'm going to say some of you guys, one of your sources of business is going to be your sphere. Another word to say that is your Mets. Basically, these are the people that know you already. They love you already. They're already willing, they have a rapport with you. So we have Mets. Now, part of that is maybe past client referrals. Basically, right, repeat business. Some of us, web leads. Now, what I'm discovering more and more, and that's why we've been talking about this, and I've sent you guys, if you haven't got it, I sent an email out on Saturday. Go through that. You should have a Playster website set up. That is something we've actually, as Keller Williams, we've hired Scott Leroy. He will set up all the back end of your website. This should have happened whenever you came into KW. I'm seeing that some people's didn't. Can't change that. What we can do is make sure that it is done now. So what that looks like is, again, go through, watch that video. Within 3 minutes, it says, do you have this link? And if you don't, you're going to email me. You're going to email Scott Leroy. All the information's in that email. And you are going to have him set up the back end. So you don't have to know all the technical stuff. He's going to set up your website. Then you're going to, and then there's a video called Playster 201. Again, this is in the email that went out on Saturday. And he's going to walk you through step by step in the webinar of how do you create web leads? How do you create a web presence? I was talking to an agent today from another company, and I'm like, what? She's planning on spending $300 and something a month on Realtor.com leads. I said, well, how much are you guaranteed to get from that? And it was like 40 something web leads. And I'm thinking, really? Like, those are pretty dang expensive when there's other ways to do that. And so these are the other ways to do that, right? And the other cool part, what's going to happen is when you're doing it and you're creating that momentum and everything from your website, then not only are you going to get business now because of search engine optimization and some other things that you're going to learn along the way, this is something that is going to continue to give you business in the future. So be aware of that. The other thing is, are you doing social media? Okay. Now, again, these are just some of the examples. Not everybody's going to do these in their business, and that's why I need to see you at 1 o'clock or come to one of the night classes that I do so that I know where you want to do your business and we can create the strategy for it, right? So social media. So I did a webinar and I emailed it out and it was paced internally. And it was, maybe if you've never done social media before, and this was just basically based on Facebook. We're going to do a whole nother training on Instagram. So Facebook. Now, the one thing, caveat, at the very end of that webinar, and this is the interesting thing, right? Facebook, all these things are always changing. One of the things that I talked about was the 5, 5, and 5 a day. Ignore all of that. And the reason is Facebook they just went away with the Friends Facebook feeds, so you can't do that. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's completely okay. You didn't watch the webinar. Watch it, because the first front of that is going to be huge. The last piece, just when it starts talking about 5, 5, and 5, just ignore that piece, okay? Good enough. All right. Now we have social media for sale by owners, expires. Now, again, the goal is not for you to do all of these. The goal is for you to have 3 to 5 of these that you're going to put in place in your business. And if you remember when I just talked about concentration, you don't want to put all these into your business today. Your intent is to do 1, and then add a second, and then add a third, right? And maybe open houses, right? And with open houses, what I'd like you to be thinking, and with all of these, right? Am I good at open houses because I've done 8 hours worth, or am I a master at open houses? Am I converting people to appointments? So let me ask you this, for you guys that are watching live and those that will watch, what's the point of an open house? This is the point of an open house. It is to generate buyers and sellers. Now, if you sold that house, that would be amazing. 1% of open houses are sold from the open house. And yet, the more open houses you do, the more houses you will sell, because they might come to that house and actually buy a different house from you. So at that open house, are you actively having the correct conversation? When they walk into your open house, are you saying, hey, how can I help you? Or are you being very on purpose, walking up using Ben Kenny's script and saying, hey, thanks for coming to my open house. I find that generally people come to my open house for one of two reasons. They're a neighbor and they just kind of curious what's going on, or you're looking to buy a house. Which one are you? Much more impactful way of getting them off of, we call it, off of their radio station, what's in it for me, onto actually giving you an answer, right? And so are you utilizing those to get very intentional about getting your open houses? Are you, from that open house, working on setting appointments that day? So if they say, yeah, well, we're thinking about selling and we're just checking things out, great. So we wrap up today at 4 o'clock. Why don't I swing by your house and we'll just take a look and I'll see if there's anything that you need to do in order to get ready to put that on the market. So we can swing by at 4:30. Are you being purposeful about an appointment at open house? Or are you just there gathering information? Now, are there going to be times that you can't get the appointment, you gather the information? Absolutely. And yet, again, it goes back to, are you being purposeful? So a few weeks ago, I'd emailed out, a mega team shared a webinar on how to be very purposeful at your open houses. Did you watch it? Will you go back and watch it? And the reason that I'm emailing you these things is because I understand that we don't all office from the office. Some of us, you might not be able to do it during the day. Do you have time in your calendar to say, okay, I'm going to master this thing, so I'm going to learn how other people do it. I'm going to pull some of that into my business so that I keep getting better and better and better, okay? So now, which one, and there's a lot more than this, I'm just using these as an example, which 3 to 5 are in your business. Now, when we talk about mastery, right, or being in concentration, so if you have a lot of people in your database, right, which would be these two, or if you know a lot of people, have you written them down? Have you put them in command? Are they on a 36 touch? Do you know what a 36 touch is? What I do know is that if you put people in your database and you operate a true 36 touch, you should have a 10% return from your business. So that means if you have 500 people in your database and you work them consistently, that's 50 closings. Are you doing that? If you're not, plug in, come in on Monday, and we're going to talk about what that looks like, okay? If you say, I want to do web leads, plug in, come in on Monday, and you're going to go, well, how are we going to cover all that on Monday? Because on Monday, we're going to cover different pieces, and every Monday, we're covering something different, and yet it all feeds in so that you have 3 to 5 pieces of business that you are currently working on, and we're not jumping around in your business, right? So Harrison's business is going to look a little bit different than Paul's business, and Shane's business is going to look a little bit different than Tiffany's business. That's perfect because it's your business. We just want to make sure, are you growing into concentration in all of these? So, that's what we've got, and that's a little bit of what we covered on the Thursday night class. So, with that said, I'm going to wrap this up. When you watch this, if you're watching it now, if you have questions, type me some questions. Ask me some questions. Come see me. But again, Mondays at 1 o'clock. Just put that in your calendar. That's what we want to work on. How do you have so many leads that you cannot deal with them all? Like, you literally have to refer them out because you have so many leads. That is a fun place to be, and it takes some things that you have to implement in order to make that happen. So with that said, I guess, wow, it's 11 o'clock on Sunday. So have an amazing rest of your weekend. Go ahead, start. Are you planning what next week is going to look like, right? Because that's the other piece that we're looking at is self and time management. Do you have next week planned, right? When are you going to lead generate? When are you going to lead follow up? When are you going to go on appointments? When are you going to prep for your open house if you're doing open houses? So are you being very purposeful with your time, with your energy, right? So anyways, that's what we wanted to share with you guys today. Have an amazing rest of the Sunday. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.